You know, having one spaceship is cool, but what about a spaceship that can turn into two independent ships, or even three? The idea of ship separation has been in Star Trek for a long time now, ever since the premiere of Star Trek The Next Generation, when we saw the Enterprise D separate its saucer section, and the two were able to function as two independent ships. That was always kind of a neat idea, and it's popped up in Star Trek from time to time even after that, and it's done the same in Star Trek Online. So today, we're going to be talking about different ships in Star Trek Online that are capable of separating and how they do it. Since we're talking about ships that can separate within the game, obviously we're going to talk about... Since we're talking about ships that can separate, obviously the first one we're going to be talking about is the Galaxy class here. This is actually the first ship that was capable of doing such a thing because it was given the console saucer separation. What this does is you click it and it will separate the saucer, and you'll gain various stat changes that will better accommodate basically turning you into a smaller, more pseudo escort type ship, basically making you smaller, more agile, more maneuverable, faster, but at the same time you will be also receiving several different buffs to accommodate that. You'll be getting more weapons power, but you'll be losing some shield and aux power, as well as some other changes there. But yeah, mainly the big reason people use this is for the cosmetic change, which is it actually separates the saucer. And the cool thing about these separation consoles is that the saucer doesn't just go away. It stays with you. It will fly around as a pet, teaming up with you to fight alongside you in battle. The Galaxy saucer specifically isn't that powerful. It's just armed with a couple of phaser arrays. But if you have another console equipped onto that is part of its console set, the what is it called? The antimatter spread. If you have that console equipped as well, then the independent saucer section will also be able to use that ability. Now, antimatter spread isn't particularly powerful. It's just a simple placate ability, but it is cool that we get to see the saucer use the antimatter spread independently, because that's exactly what we saw the Enterprise D do when it fought the Borg in the Best of Both Worlds. Now, I'll just show you guys the animation closing up, and then we will move on to the next ship. Oh, actually, there is one other thing I should go over before moving on to the next ship. The way you separate your ship is by using a universal console. It's called saucer separation. This console is obtained via either the Tier 5, what's it called? The Tier 5 Galaxy Exploration Cruiser Retrofit. That is a Tier 5 ship available in the C-Store, or you can also get it on the Legendary Ross Command Exploration Cruiser, which is in the 10th Anniversary Bundle. Oh, and it also comes with the Legendary Galaxy Dreadnought, which is in the Mirror Universe bundle, which is also, you can find that in the bundle section of the C-Store. And that's one of the other interesting things about this console. It can be used on any variant of the Galaxy class, and that does include the Dreadnought version of the ship. So you can see this is the Dreadnought version with the 3 nacelles. This is also capable of using this console, which I always thought was kind of neat. Other interesting detail with this one is if you use the saucer separation on this version of the Galaxy class, it changes up how the spinal lance works. Instead, it kind of turns it into a sort of a shotgun spread. That's kind of the easiest way to put it. So instead of one beam that hits one target, it'll do less overall damage per shot, but it'll deal damage in a cone type attack. You can see the new firing arc when you mouse over the ability. So yeah, it goes from being a single target ability to a cone attack with a 45-degree angle that can hit multiple targets at once. So, get a strong gravity well in there. Not that you have room for gravity well in this ship, but get it like a strong control ability, and you can possibly hit multiple targets at once with this modified phaser spinal lance with the saucer separated. Now, there are 2 other ships in Star Trek Online that have similar saucer separation abilities, but they're not done in the same way. The first one here is the Odyssey class, and its entire family of ships. This is done via what is called the Chevron separation saucer. So instead of the saucer separation console that the Galaxies use, this one has its own unique console that will do its own version of saucer separation. I know it seems kind of silly that, the consoles seemingly do the same thing, but not really, because one, they're on different animation skeletons, so that for technical reasons they have to be different consoles, but also they do give different stat differences between the two, so there's a little bit of difference there too. But also the unique abilities that the pet will get, the saucer pet, those will be different as well. There, we'll activate the console right now. There it goes. Odyssey chevron separation. You see the little so unlike the Galaxy class, the Galaxy class, when it separates, it just gets the two saucer mounted impulse engines for its propulsion. But for the Odyssey, you can see it actually has its own impulse engines on the underside of the saucer. So the Star Drive section still keeps the mainline engines. You only see the saucer's impulse engines once the ship is actually separated. This is another one where the PET isn't that powerful, just has a couple of phasor arrays on it, but this one is unique that instead of being able to use the antimatter spread like the Galaxy saucer does, this one is able to use tractor beam right from the get-go. But if you complete the console set, so you have the saucer separation along with the Aquarius and the Worker Bees console from the other Tier 5 galaxies, this one is able to use Gravity Well 3, which that's kind of neat. That's a really nice control ability, so having a PET that can use Gravity Well 3, kind of neat. The chevron separation console itself is obtainable from the Odyssey Operations Cruiser, which is an old Tier 5 version of the Odyssey, but is also available from the legendary Verity Command Dreadnought Cruiser, which is available through the 10th anniversary bundle. While it's only attainable on those versions of the ship, it is usable on any version of the Galaxy class. So as long as you have the console, you can use it on any version of here. Like I'm using it on the Lexington right now. So yeah, as long as you have it on a Odyssey variant, you can use the console if you want. There is one more ship with a similar separation ability, but this one doesn't have a saucer separation. It's more of a sphere separation. This is the Nobel. This is the variant of the Olympic class, and what it does is capable of separating a saucer. This one also functions a little bit differently too. The PET here, it's going to be completely stationary, unlike the saucer PETs that we saw on the first two. It's completely stationary. It hands out these buffs, and everything inside this AoE is going to receive a shield buff, and any enemies within this AoE are going to receive a shield debuff. So it's meant to be much more support focused as a PET, but it's also much more stationary because I don't really know why. It always seemed like an odd decision for me, especially because you can clearly see engines back there too. So it's weird that this thing doesn't follow you around, but whatever, I didn't design it. Also, unlike other separation PETs, this one also has a limited time. We're about to see this one expire. Boop, and then it flies away, and it will now reattach to the main ship. There it is. So yeah, that is sphere separation. That's done with the sphere separation console, which comes off of this ship, the Nobel Miracle Worker Research Science Vessel, but this is capable of being used on any version of the Olympic class. So this, the Tier 5 retrofit version of the Olympic, as well as the original Tier 3 Olympic, and any fleet versions that those ships have. Now, while that covered saucer separation type abilities, there are other ships that are capable of separating different portions of their ship. There are plenty of other larger ships in Star Trek Online that have smaller support craft attached to them and are capable of launching them. Like, that's why we are back here on the Odyssey class, because it is capable of launching an Aquarius class escort from its aft section. See, it goes right there, and then it launches, and now it's a PET. But yeah, this will follow you around, dealing its own damage. It has its own weapons. It will fire on nearby targets. It's a little bit more powerful weapons-wise than the saucer separation, but the saucer separation is a little bit more tanky. The Aquarius here is going to be a very small, very squishy escort, so you have to keep more of an eye on it, make sure to try to keep it alive. The Aquarius here is armed with phaser quad cannons, as well as phaser turrets, quantum torpedo launcher, and it's also capable of using the point defense turret that one of the older tier versions of the Akira is capable of using. So any like fighter or any fighters or targetable torpedoes that get near it will be able to be taken down by that point defense system right there. The PET is launched using this console right here, Aquarius Escort. This is obtained on the Odyssey Tactical Cruiser, that's the old Tier 5 version, and it is also obtainable on the legendary version of the Odyssey. It's the legendary Verity out of the 10th anniversary bundle, but the console itself is capable of being used on any version of the Odyssey, Tier 5 or Tier 6. Actually, I think there's one exception to that. I don't think it can be used on the original Odyssey Star Cruiser. That's the one that like doesn't have an Odyssey in the back. It's just got like the shuttle bay back there. That's it was originally given out for free back in the day, and now can be still obtained as a fleet ship. If you're in a fleet, you can obtain that for fleet credits. But yeah, I think that's the only exception to that rule. Don't worry, Klingon players, I got something for you too, because the Klingons actually get their own version of the Aquarius. It's called the Hossus bird of prey. It is usable on any version of the Bortosk battle cruiser. You can see it here, launching right here, and it looks absolutely silly because the animation has been... Oh, they actually fixed the animation, kind of. It used to be that for a long time, the wings always stayed down, and it looked absolutely silly. I didn't realize that had been fixed. Kinda. It still kind of, you know, went out kind of wonky, but okay, that looks so much better. I'm actually really pleased to see that. This is the first time I've seen it actually work in a very long time. That's cool. Anyway, the Hossus, it's very similar to the Aquarius. It's very similarly armed. It's got quad disruptor cannons, turrets, as well as a quantum torpedo launcher, but it has different abilities on it. It is capable of using the subspace jump ability, which it's similar to another console that the older versions of the Bortosks get. Though, honestly, the fact that a pet can use subspace jump is honestly kind of annoying. The last thing you want if you're, like, you know, shooting at an enemy, last thing you want is one of your pets to jump that pet away out of your firing arcs into something else. So I don't really know what they were thinking in giving this thing subspace jump. You know, it would have been better to use, like, literally anything else. You don't want to give your pets the ability to move stuff away from you when you don't want them to. That's not a good way to do things. So yeah, that's not a little bit of a downgrade for the Klingons in my opinion because of that subspace jump, but I mean, it looks cool. It's fun. You know, it's the Bortosk. Look at the Bortosk. This is a cool ship. It's big. It's mean. It's kind of ugly, but in like a cool sort of way because it's meant to look big, mean, and ugly. So yeah, I don't know. I still like it. Oh, what happened there? I don't know why that exploded. Clearly, this animation for this console isn't completely fixed. It's funny. Star Trek Online, guys, you gotta love it sometimes, just for that silly crap like that. Anyway, that is the Hossus. It is available. It is usable on any version of the Bortosk, but it is only obtained from the Bortosk War Cruiser. That's one of the Tier 5 versions, as well as this version, the Legendary Bortosk Command Battlecruiser, which is obtainable from the Legendary Battlecruiser bundle, which really great bundle. You get this and the Legendary Avenger, really nice. The next one comes from the Intrepid class in this family of ships. This is the Aero Shuttle. You can see it. It's actually right there under the saucer. This is funny story with this one, like production wise. Like this was always like part of Voyager's model. Like you've always been able to see the outline of the Aero Shuttle here. It was meant to be like, you know, a heavier duty shuttle. Like there's test footage from Star Trek Voyager, like, you know, in earlier production where like the inside of the Aero Shuttle basically just looks like it's the same interior that they used for the runabouts in Deep Space Nine, but they never got around to using this thing in the show, and then it was ultimately replaced by the Delta Flyer. Like they completely forgot that this was a thing when we need a new, bigger, badder shuttle. You already had one, guys. Like whatever. Star Trek's funny like that sometimes. But yeah, anyway, Star Trek Online at least took inspiration from this and made it into a console. You can launch the Aero Shuttle, and it will function as its own pet. There it goes. Right there. It is armed with phaser array, dual beam bank phasers, quantum torpedo launcher, and it is capable of using tractor beam, beam overload, viral matrix, and gem sensors. It is launched by using this console right here. This is Aero Shuttle Bay. It's available from the Pathfinder Long Range Science Vessel, which a lot of you got for free recently. So a lot of you probably have this console by now. Not that it's a new thing anyway. Like I said, it comes from the Pathfinder, but it is also usable on the Tier 5 Long Range Intrepid Science Vessel. It's also usable on the Trailblazer, and also comes from the Legendary Intrepid Miracle Worker Multi-Mission Science Vessel. Man, that is a mouthful right there. But yeah, it's available on all versions of the Intrepid. It's not a super powerful thing, but it's neat, and it's a little bit of Voyager history that you actually never get to see outside of test footage from the series. You never get to see this in the actual show itself. So kind of cool that Star Trek Online went to the effort of making this into a thing. Funny fact, the Nova class has a similar thing. It's got the I think they call it like the Wave Rider or something like that, but it's also got like a little shuttle like under the saucer section there. But again, you never see that one get launched, and I don't think there's even an actual model for that one either. We've never really seen anything like that, but it would have been cool if Star Trek Online could have implemented that as well. Though there are a few other ships that it would be cool to see this kind of thing implemented into, like the Sovereign class. You know, it's got that captain's yacht that descends from the saucer section 2. That's not in the game. Odyssey class also has a captain's yacht on the underside of it ever since the revamp of the Odyssey class was introduced into Star Trek Picard. That's got a captain's yacht under there too. So yeah, it'd be cool if those could be one day made into consoles as well. Next is a ship that Star Trek Online long ago forgot about. This is the Dakir Science Vessel. This is a Vulcan ship that was first seen in Star Trek Enterprise, and then Star Trek Online made it into a playable ship, and then kind of neglected it. Like this is a Tier 5 version of the ship. There is no Tier 6 version of the Dakir. But the reason it's on this list today, because it does have a launchable pet. Interestingly, though, it's not a console. Like, this doesn't have a console that launches its pet. The pet off of the Dakir is an innate ability. So, you know, it's not a console or anything like that. It just has it. You know, kind of like a spinal lance on a dreadnought. Just launch it. And there's the animation. It's kind of cool. And it launches it, and there it goes. That is they call it the Tulkir. It's meant to be more of a support pet. It's not heavily armed. It's only got like a single plasma cannon on it. Actually, I think it's a plasma turret. But yeah, it's more meant to be a support pet. It'll shoot anything that gets nearby, mainly like targetable torpedoes and stuff like that, like a point defense pet. But its main purpose is more for healing your hull and shields, both for you and any nearby allies. So it's more meant to be like a heal pet than anything else, which is kind of neat, not super useful, but you know, it's just kind of cool that you get to have this ability built into the ship. That's something I would love to see more of. You know, launchable pets that are innate abilities to ships rather than just throwing them on a console, because then I would have to use an entire console slot for a pet that really isn't that good to begin with. You know, like the Aquarius, the saucer separation, a lot of those things I would love for them to be implemented as innate abilities, so I don't have to waste a console slot on them. But whatever. It's only ever been done here on the Tulkir, or the Dakir with the Tulkir. That's a lot of Kirs. Oh, you know what I mean. But yeah, it would have been nice to see more of that implemented. But they only ever did it with this ship, and then never did it again, because again, like I said, there's no Tier 6 version of this ship, so we're still waiting on that. Yeah, let's watch this go back into dock, and then we will move on to the next ship. There it goes. And the warp ring goes back in, and there it goes. Next up, we're going to very alien ships. This is the Alachi Cheshire Dreadnought. Specifically, this is the command version. There's an Intel version of it too, but they look identical. I don't know why they bothered to do that. That was a thing Star Trek Online did for a while. They would release like promo ships, but they would be like two different versions of the same promo ship, just with like a slight difference in the seating. They'd have the same console, same trait, same ship model. There was no difference between them. They did that with this one. They did that with the Jem'Hadar Strikewing, not the Strikewing Escort, the Jem'Hadar attack ship, or whatever the heck it was called. But yeah, it's a really dumb idea, and I'm really glad they stopped doing that. But anyway, that's a mini rant out of the way. This is the Cheshire, and it has its own separation ability via the what's this one called? Cheshire Assault Craft. Click it, and it launches its own assault craft right there, which is interesting because it's another saucer ability. But the neat thing about this console is that this is able to be used on any Alachi ship, not just other versions of the Cheshire. Any Alachi ship can use this console. It works a little differently when used on ships that aren't a version of the Cheshire, though. With them, they will just warp in they will warp in an escort pet along with it. So instead of the assault craft right here that you get here, instead they will warp in what was it called, a Sagalth class escort that will fight alongside you instead. I'm pretty sure it has the same stats, so it's got like the same Alachi beam arrays and the torpedoes, and it can use fire at will too, and subspace jump. But additionally, if you pair this up with I think it's more of the console set. Yeah, if you pair this up with the Crescent Wave, where is it? The Crescent Wave cannon, you will also be able to the pet itself will also be able to use the Crescent Wave cannon. So if you have both of those consoles, you will be able to get that. I think it's either both those consoles or the full set. I can't remember. Oh, it's the full set. So you have to have all three consoles to be able for the pet to be able to use the Crescent Wave cannon, which is not worth it, but it's neat space Barbie wise. That's about it. But yeah, that is the Cheshire's pet right there. neat thing. You don't really see the Cheshire all that often anymore. You know, it's an old promo ship. It's not even that's the funny another thing that always bugged me. They're called the Cheshire Command Dreadnought. It's not a full command ship. It only has a lieutenant commander command seat. It doesn't have the inspiration mechanic. And it's the same thing with the Intel version too. It only has a lieutenant commander Intel seat, and it does not have the gather Intel mechanic. So again, that's another thing I'm really glad they stopped doing, because it makes these older ships kind of confusing in the current day and age. Okay, we got one last ship that launches a pet out the back of the ship. This is the Jem'Hadar Vanguard Carrier. This was one of the first Jem'Hadar Vanguard ships released into the game, and actually I should say one of the few too. We haven't really gotten a lot of these, but this ship also comes with the linked command matrix, which is capable of doing this. It launches the back end out of the ship, and it becomes its own unique little pet ship. What this pet is capable of doing, it's armed with Polaron beam arrays and dual banks, and it also has a quantum torpedo launcher, and it is capable of using Fire at Will 3, Beam Overload 2, and Torpedo High Yield 1. It's an interesting pet. It's not super amazing in combat, but it's just neat to have, and especially, like, you know, it comes on a carrier. It's one more pet to have, so you already got like 2 hangar bays worth of pets, plus the wingmen because this is the Vanguard ship. Then you got one more pet to throw into the mix. That's neat. I really like that. You know, that's something, you know, you guys know me. I love my pet builds, so that's really cool to see. But the really interesting thing about this console in particular, though, is that unlike all the other consoles on this list, this console is usable on any ship. Not just the Jem'Hadar Vanguard Carrier, not just other Jem'Hadar Vanguard ships. Any playable ship can use Link Command Matrix and summon in this pet. Instead of it separating away from the ship like it does on this one, though, if you use it on a different ship, the ship will just simply warp in and it'll follow you around like it normally would with this one. So that's it's a very interesting thing. I don't really know why they don't do more of that. It might just be like it's a lot of work like on the back end. Like, there's probably like a lot of like systems work to make sure that it works on, you know, it makes the animation work on this ship, but it doesn't trigger the animation on another ship. So it could just be that. It could be a lot of work on that end, but it's something I would love to see more of. Like, because like I love, like, you know, having the Aquarius on the Odyssey, but I would love to be able to have an Odyssey or have an Aquarius warp in, you know, using a different ship or something like that. You know, it would be fun, and I don't understand why they don't do more of that kind of thing. But I mean, I guess there might be a reason. I don't know. But yeah, really interesting console right here, just because, yeah, like I said, it's usable on any ship, which is neat. But yeah, let's get a shot of that being turned off and docking back into the ship. Here we go. And that's what it looks like. So yeah, if you've been wanting to really amp up your Jem'Hadar Space Barbie, this is my my favorite way to do that, because, you know, I've always loved the look of this ship, and, you know, I love my pet builds. This just adds even more pets. Yeah, it's a cool ship. Next is a different sort of separation mechanic, and if you're looking at the screen, you probably have an idea of what I'm talking about. This is a Prometheus class, so obviously we're going to be talking about the multi-vector assault mode, which was first and only seen in Star Trek Voyager in the episode Message in a Bottle on the USS Prometheus, where we got to see one ship turn into 3 ships by the multi-vector assault mode. The thing that makes the multi-vector assault mode different than the saucer separation mechanic used on the Galaxy and the Odyssey is that with multi-vector assault mode, you get to pick which section of the ship that you'll stay in command of. Then the other 2 sections will be used as pets. So, like, if I use formation beta here, or beta command, or whatever it's called, now I am in command of the middle section of the ship, and then the other 2 sections will be flying around as pets. So yeah, the difference between the 3 of them is that are based on what sort of stat buffs and debuffs you'll be gaining. Like with beta here, I'm getting a buff to my my weapon power system. I'm also getting plus 15% flight speed and plus 15 to turn rate, but pretty decent debuffs to my hull and shield capacity. Whereas if I went with alpha, I'd get a little less a weapon power overall. You're actually getting -5, which that's not something I really want, but I'd be getting +5 to shield, engine, and auxiliary power, and then a smaller +5% and +5 to flight speed and turn rate, and a smaller 4.8% to maximum hull capacity, but still the same debuff to shield capacity. And then it's a similar story with Gamma. I'm getting an even bigger debuff to my weapon subsystem with -10, but I'm getting +10 to auxiliary. So if I'm wanting more of more exotic build, kind of like that, that'd be kind of useful there. But I'm not going to be doing that on an escort like the Hydra here. But you'd also get +10% and +10 to flight speed and turn rate, and a smaller debuff to your shield capacity. So this one's kind of like the more sciencey version. The I guess the alpha version is meant to be more well-rounded because it's buffing your shield, engine, auxiliary. I guess it's meant to be somewhat more hull tanky, which again, not something you're going to want to do in the escort. Really, it's beta all the way. You're becoming faster, and you're going to have more powerful energy weapons. That's really the one you want to go with on any version of the well, not any version of the Prometheus, because the Hestia, it's got a command seat, so actually torpedo build is actually viable on that one. So actually the Gamma one's not bad on that one. But for Hydra here, which I'm flying this in the Hydra beta, I want beta. Now, an interesting thing with the multi-vector assault mode too is that there's also another version of this, sort of. When they released the Hydra here, they released along with that this console here, harmonic yield distribution via radial aperture, or Hydra for short. Basically, what it does is it will take any pets that you have, and it will use those pets to fire off a big burst of phaser damage from the pets themselves. It was meant to make multi-vector a more viable form of combat, and it really did help a lot. It's been a really great for both multi-vector pets and just normal like hangar bay pets too. This is a really nice console to have if you like pet builds. But yeah, because the Hydra didn't come with the multi-vector assault mode console with it, because this isn't a legendary ship. The Hydra console also comes with its own sort of limited version of multi-vector assault mode. It works kind of the same way as the original Tier 5 console does, but you only get the alpha version, which in my opinion is the worst of the three. You only get the alpha version from the version off of Hydra, and it only lasts for 60 seconds. So you're getting the worst version for a limited amount of time, whereas with the actual Tier 5 console, you can just leave that up however long you want. So yeah, just something to think about there. That's it was kind of neat that they actually bothered to give the Hydra console the multi-vector assault mode, at least some version of it. I just wish it had been done a little bit differently, but no point in complaining about it now. Now, there's one more ship that has a separation mechanic like this, or I should say, like one more family of ships. This is the Hapax, or rather, this is technically the Kara Advanced Warbird, or the Fleet Hapax. They're all part of the Hapax family of ships. This one also has a separation mechanic, and it's a bit similar to the multi-vector assault mode that the Prometheus has. Instead of 3 modes, this one only has 2. So you'll be able to separate the ship and choose which end that you want to command. You'll be able to take command of the lower, the quote assault version, so to make the ship much more nimble, more escort-like, or you can command the top version, which is a bit more tanky, more support focused. It's more focused on like auxiliary and exotic abilities, which is weird for a cruiser to have like this, because this is a dreadnought. And then there's the assault version, which is more weapon focused, more speed focused. So if you want to kind of shed the bulk of the dreadnought, you can go with this version of the separation. I always liked this ship. I always thought this was a really cool ship with a really cool idea behind it, and I really wish that we could see an updated, modernized version of this ship. Some sort of re-release, give it a retexture, something like that, give it new stats, because I mean, look at that wingspan. That deserves a fire-through weapons layout. You're not telling me you're going to be broadsiding looking like that, where your entire side is just your warp nacelle. Come on, man. Sorry, mini rant over. But yeah, this is the what they call the dual vector separation, I think. Yeah, dual vector separation. Like I said, you command either the top section or the bottom section. You get various different stat buffs between the two. There's also a set bonus with this one. Yeah, all it does is just give you a little bit of turn rate and defense rating, so it's not that big of a deal. But yeah, neat mechanic for what I think is a really neat and really underrated ship. This was like, seriously, this ship was meant to be like the Romulan version of the Galaxy Dreadnought. And I always felt like this thing should have been like the Romulan Republic flagship, not the freaking Scimitar, because that makes no sense lore-wise. But yeah, it's yeah, I've gone on this rant before. I always felt like the Hapax family was very underappreciated in Star Trek Online, and I would love to see a newer version of it. But I don't think that'll ever happen because Romulan ships sadly don't make much money. But yeah, the console here, dual vector separation, it is available from the Hakona Advanced Warbird, which is the tier 5 version of the ship that is available in the C-Store, but it is usable on any version of the Hapax, like the Kara Advanced Warbird, which is the T6 version, or its fleet version here, the T6 Fleet Hapax, which, like I said, really wish we can get a new version of this ship, just a newer, updated version of this ship, because it's really cool looking, it's really pretty, and it deserves more love, and I'm sorry, I'm gonna stop ranting about it now. Let's wrap up the video. Anyway, I hope you found this video informative. I mean, separation mechanics in Star Trek Online, they're not super common, largely because they're not that useful in combat. They're more of a gimmicky Space Barbie kind of thing, but, you know, sometimes that kind of thing is fun, and it's neat that there are more ships than just the Galaxy class that can do it. So I wanted to kind of highlight those and just kind of show it off a little bit. So I hope you enjoyed that, and if you did, let me know down in the comments below, and while you're down there, be sure to like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. If you'd like to support the channel more, you can hit that join button to become a member. Hit the link to the merch store down below, or check out the affiliate links in the pinned comment. If you're ever shopping on the Epic Game Store, be sure to use my content creator code STU1701. Either of these really help me out, and I really do appreciate it. Either way, though, thank you so much for watching. My name's Stu, and I will see you guys next time.